Hey, welcome. Welcome to another edition of the Quarantine Management Institute. I'm the professor, Dr. Chris McCusker, and welcome to a special working edition of the Quarantine Management Institute. I'm on Chicago's north side, in the Edgewater neighborhood. Also happens to be where I'm from. I was born here, up at St. Joseph's Hospital on Sheridan Road. I'm now in Edgewater painting an apartment, and it feels good to work. I'll drink coffee to that. It is a difficult time, and I've been having trouble sleeping. Last night was the first night that I got a solid night's sleep in a long time. Look at myself here. And I slept about 12 hours last night, and I think the reason is because I worked. I worked yesterday painting this apartment, and slept great, and then got back this morning and continued painting, and I'm feeling that it's having the same effect on my body. Physically, I'm exhausted. And I think one of the things I've learned from this experience is how important it is to work. And that's the topic of this episode in the Quarantine Management Institute, working. Right now, I was reading that frontline workers have been hit hardest by the COVID-19 pandemic. People who were maybe invisible a couple months ago, but now are essential. Your managers at grocery stores, your healthcare workers, the invisible phlebotomist who is now a hero. I think we have to really take our hats off to them. At the same time, we're experiencing record-breaking unemployment claims. Last week was 6.6 million. The week before, twice that amount. Every week, millions are applying for unemployment. It is devastating. To not know where your next meal is coming from, how you're going to pay your mortgage or your bills. Service workers have been hit especially hard. Where I've lived many years, New Orleans, huge service economy, and people are struggling and wondering how they're going to survive. And so, workers are important today and have been important for a long time. There are a couple things I'd like to notice about work. And the book Working, written by Studs Terkel, a native Chicagoan, a famous Chicagoan who died about 12 years ago, lived well into his 90s. His book in 1974, Working, was the result of interviews he did with hundreds of people in all sorts of different occupations, many of which have been outsourced and no longer exist. But he documented the importance of finding meaning in work. The idea is, let me see how he put this, about searching for meaning and searching for daily meaning and daily bread, basically, is what he discovered was sort of a common thread in all of the people that he interviewed. And I'd like to share some thoughts about work, having really been finding meaning in the painting work that I'm doing today, and also in the process of giving meaning. Once somebody said that the job of a professor is to give meaning. So it has always been work that has helped me find meaning. I've done a variety of jobs, working as an apprentice butcher in Chicago here. I've driven taxis in New York and Atlanta. I've sold hot dogs on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, and now I'm here painting again, something I had done previously in Chicago. And finding meaning in work is something that we all do. And as a professor, I try to give meaning. So here's what I'm finding, and here's what I'm realizing as I work in this apartment painting. Number one is humility. This is hard work. I mean, my back was hurting me so much last night. You really want to take a break and you can't. You got to keep going. It's not easy to do physical work. Humility is thinking more of other people. Arrogance is thinking more of yourself. That's a definition I get from Bob and Lynn Turknet in their book, Decent People, Decent Company, Leading with Character at Work and in Life. Humility is thinking more of other people. And I think we have to take pause and think more of the people who are out here risking their lives to keep those grocery stores full, to deliver things that we need, to work in the hospitals. Humility, thinking more of other people. That's something I'm learning in this pandemic. Secondly, the notion of tangible results. A lot of my academic work involves a lot of intangibles. I've taught hundreds of classes over the years, thousands and thousands of students. I do get feedback from students about, I learned a lot in that class, and sometimes you wonder what the lasting impact is. It's nice to measure progress against a tangible objective. I can see that this apartment is getting painted, and it feels good, tangible results. And I think when we do work with intangibles, we might try to find a way to make those outcomes tangible somehow, because it feels good to see progress. We all want recognition. As an academic professor teaching at great universities, what we do is we have an academic vita. It lists everything we've done. Every time I sneezed at a conference, I put it sneezed at the Academy of Management conference. I mean, everything is documented, and I have some colleagues, really exceptional people, who have academic vitas that are 50-something pages at least. I mean, page after page after page of accomplishments. A lot of the invisible frontline workers who have been hit hardest by this pandemic, or who are risking their lives now in this pandemic, don't get recognized. It's not like somebody who's a painter is going to write down on a resume every house that they painted, every apartment. I'm painting 6305 Kenmore, apartment C, painted. And then I have the next line, 6305 Kenmore, apartment D, painted. It's just not the same. So we've got to find some way to recognize people who are doing work and earning a living, finding their daily bread, and doing it, searching for daily meaning at the same time. And then the last thing I'll mention that I'm looking at is the positive outlook. I mean, to get up and face down, eyeball to eyeball, an unpainted apartment, and to just do it and start painting. And some of it's tedious. You got trim to do, and your back starts to hurt, and you gotta do plaster and caulking, and not every task in a painting of an apartment is fun, but somehow I would say my colleagues who are painters also find a positive, happy outlook and bring that to the work. And I realized that I've been happy and I've been miserable at different times in my life, but it comes from within. So I like to think you could drop me anywhere in the world and I would find happiness and make happiness because it comes from within. And I'm really finding that to be true. So we have to find meaning through work. We have to give meaning as well. Humility, elevating other people, appreciating other people more. Tangible results, I'm learning, is very important. Recognition. I've got to go out of my way to recognize people who are putting in a hard day's work, earning their, finding their daily meaning and earning their daily bread, and the positive outlook. So here's my recommendation. Here's my prescription from the professor. Turn off the TV, turn off the devices, and get physical. Get physical. Go clean that closet, get in that yard, and clean the basement. Do something. If you're stuck at home, self-quarantined, do something physical. Get out there and mop that whole floor, sweep the whole stairs. Do what you can do. Stay physical as long as you can, and I promise you will get a good night's sleep tonight.